Congressman Banks, recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mr. Taubman, in 2014, the National Labor Relations Board instituted what has become known as the ambush election rule, which you mentioned in your testimony. Can you explain to the members of this committee what that rule is and how it infringes upon workers' rights?
Well, the ambush election rules allow that once a union files a petition, that the election will be held very, very quickly, meaning there's no time for debate among the workforce, there's no time for employees to educate themselves, and for employers who have Section 8C free speech rights, there's no time for them to have input into it. You know, I heard some testimony about employers not being parties to these things. There's actually 3 parties to an NLRB election. There's unions, there's employers, and there's workers. And all of these people should have free speech rights in the workplace. And so the ambush election rules curtailed all of that and made it impossible for there to be a real debate. And at the same time, it didn't apply, the ambush rules did not apply to a decertification. So if employees said, we want to choose to vote to get rid of the current union, suddenly it was all subject to being blocked and delayed. Because those
Can I stop you there and ask you, what is the current status of the rule?
The current status of the rule is that the current NLRB is in the process of a rule-making program looking at changing some or all of that rule. But it's just, these things take a long time when you deal with rulemaking, because there has to be notice and comment. The board, when they issue the final rules, has to respond to all of these comments. So you're looking at a process that often goes years.
Okay. Moving on to a different issue. A 2015 poll from the Opinion Research Corporation found that 81% of Democrats support the right to a secret ballot election. They support a requirement that unions stand for periodic recertification and support a requirement that unions receive opt-in permission from workers before using their dues on politics. Is this number surprising to you based on your experience representing employees across the country?
Right. Again, these are all basic free speech, free association principles. I think if you ask Americans what do they think about secret ballots and free speech, which frankly is under attack in many parts of this country, most Americans support free speech and the right of people to organize together, but the equal right to not join, to not organize, to refrain. You can't have the right of association without having the right of non-association. The Supreme Court's held this for years.
So it doesn't sound like you're surprised. Let's move on to another issue. As a co-author of Indiana's very successful right-to-work law, I've noticed that a lot of opposition to right-to-work laws come from the belief that reduced union power will lead to lower wages. There are a number of studies that make this claim, but these studies often fail to account for the significant difference in cost of living across the states. In fact, the Missouri Economic Research and Information Center notes that right-to-work states have a cost of living that is 6.5% below the national average as of 2016. When taking this difference fully into account, disposable per capita income was $2,400 higher in right-to-work states than those with forced union states, according to 2016 data from the Bureau of Economic Research. Can you talk about why income may be higher in right-to-work states when the common wisdom suggests that it would be lower?
Right. So I'm not an economist. Talking about the statistics is not my forte. I'm a lawyer that represents individual employees, but to me it's just common sense that when you have a workforce that has free choice, that's mobile, that their talents are rewarded based upon who they are as an individual and not treating workers as widgets or machines that get put into collective bargaining units, that you're going to have more freedom and you're going to have more economic growth. And that's why right-to-work states lead the country in economic growth.
Thank you. My time has expired.